Get ready to embark on an extraordinary journey through time as we unravel the mysteries surrounding the biblical Adam, the Egyptian Pharaoh Akhenaten, and the ancient Sumerian entity Adapa. Is the story of Adam truly the beginning of humanity, or are we about to discover an astonishing twist in our shared history? Join us as we delve deep into the secrets hidden within the annals of time, challenging established beliefs and uncovering a paradigm-shattering revelation that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. According to biblical doctrine, Adam was the first human created, and his story is foundational to the Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Was the biblical Adam really the first man, or is his story just a fictional concoction or a repackaged story of another? This video explores the connections between the biblical character, the 18th dynasty Egyptian Pharaoh Akhenaten, and a Sumerian entity, Adapa, created by the Anunnaki Nikursag. Over time, the story of Adam and creation became a topic of much interest and debate among theologians, historians, and scholars, more so after the Babylonian clay tablets of the Epic of Gilgamesh were found and translated. Detailed research has been carried out concerning the biblical story, and with much due diligence reviewing the much older Sumerian text. These efforts have resulted in the shattering of a world-indoctrinated paradigm, the Adam. The Hebrew name Adam actually refers to mankind, and possibly a particular bloodline and not an individual person. When reviewing biblical scripture and looking at the word being used for ground, it is Adama, meaning land, red, or Adam. It's important to note and keep in mind the similarity between Adama, Adam, and the Sumerian word Adama. Adam, or Adjom in the Egyptian tongue, has the strong possibility of referring to a position, the high priest. Pharaohs, of course, were known as high priests. Biblical Adam had responsibilities as a high priest. He was given priestly stewardship over God's creation according to scripture, we are told. In the Garden of Eden, he has to keep the garden and was given dominion over creation, where he operated while naked. 18th century dynasty Pharaoh Akhenaten is known for his garden in Amarna, which he is depicted being naked and exercised dominion like Adam. One could argue that the pharaoh is not portrayed as being naked, but if not, then he most definitely wore translucent clothing. Pharaoh Akhenaten and Adam could be considered the first monotheist because of their worship of one god. Adam being the first man, Akhenaten was the first pharaoh to push a radical change in worship and religion onto the Egyptian people. In Jewish tradition, Adam is sometimes called a priest king or a priestly mediator between God and humanity. This is based on the idea that Adam had a unique relationship with God and could communicate directly with him and offer sacrifices. This is very similar to a pharaoh's role, and much so after actions taken by Pharaoh Akhenaten to replace the religion as mentioned before. The Adama, male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. Referring to a much older text than those in the Bible, a Sumerian text, one of the Anunnaki gods, named Nikursag, bore a child, having developed an embryo cultured from the seed of a mortal woman. The seed had been clinically fertilized by Ninkursag's half-brother Enki. So, this seed would be genetically half mortal and half god. The outcome of this successful experiment was the Adama, which translates to earthling. Just one A, more from looking like the biblical Adam. This earthling was recorded as the model of man. Enki called the man Adapa. At the ancient city of Eridu, Adapa was placed in charge of Enki's temple in the Sumerian Eden and became the world's first ever priest. Doesn't this sound like the biblical story and the history of the Egyptian pharaoh? Tablets containing Adapa's story were initially discovered, along with the Enuma Elish, in the Nineveh library ruins of King Ashurbanipal of Assyria, and also in the Egyptian archives of Pharaoh Amenhotep III, who reigned in about 1400 BC. Amenhotep III was the father of Akhenaten. Was Akhenaten influenced by the Enuma Elish? They explained that Ninkursag, Lady Earth's son, Adapa, the Adama, was indeed a mighty man, human. who was given extraordinary powers of control, being anointed into kingship. In old languages such as Vedic, the word hu relates to mighty, and the proto-linguistic term humana, whence human, identifies a mighty man. At that time, in those years of the wise son of Eridu, Enki had created him as a leader among mankind. Of the wise one, no one treated his command lightly. Someone who would mediate between the gods and humanity? Sound familiar? Later, in a continuation from another fragment, the Adama is described not only as the high priest, but also as being of the royal seed. Adapa's creation involved a blend of mortal and godly lineage and was a representative of the Anunnaki to the Earthlings. Pharaohs like Akhenaten, regarded as having divine connections, thus the reason given for their rule, have a similar status as a representative of both the heavenly and human realms. It's apparent that Adapa, the biblical Adam, was not the first man, but he was the first human of the royal seed. The first priest king of the Enki bloodline, Anunnaki bloodline. Man was given breath. As already indicated, Adapa wasn't the first human man, and the story of Adam was clearly conceived based on the story of Adapa. Therefore, the biblical doctrine of the creation story needs to be corrected. However, there is more that the Sumerian text gives us. We're told that Enki was instructed to fashion workers to support his people, the gods, which happens before the creation of Adapa, the Adama. O my son, rise from your bed, work what is wise, fashion servants of the gods, and may they produce their doubles. To fashion servants of the gods, Enki would need help of his sister wife Ninkursag. Now, Ninkursag is known for being a highly regarded anatomical specialist, and there are many accounts of her research, which included the saving of Enki's semen to be applied to the cross-fertilization of other life forms. There was a location where these experiments were conducted. Ninkursag's documented creation chamber was called the House of Shimti, from the Sumerian Shim-Ti, meaning breath, wind, life. In Genesis, it's said that God blew into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living creature. It's said that Ninkursag's experiments were soon perfected, and she was ready to create her utmost masterwork, Homo sapiens sapiens. Understand that Homo sapien already existed. The Atrahasis epic records that Ea and Ninigiku, Enki, and Ninkursag created 14 new humans soon after the flood, 7 boys and 7 girls, and the clinical process involved the wombs of women who had survived the deluge. The tablet is very fragmented, and much of the text has been lost, but what remains describes how Ninkursag made use of the 7 and 7 wombs, having prepared 14 pinches of clay, upon which Enki had delivered his repeated incantation. In one instance, the opening of a navel is detailed, and the wombs are called the creatresses of destiny. It is related that these wombs completed Ninkursag's work by developing the forms of the people that she made. Not only was a new workforce created to toil in the fields, to build new cities, and to work the mines, but a whole new social structure was conceived, with the humanins as their leaders. From the mud, you was formed. We should now consider the mysterious little clay models to which the translated records all refer. It's most evident that the creation story in Genesis is that which is found in the Sumerian text. But how was it that the Genesis compilers presumed the Adama, who was made from earth, female earthling, then described as clay? The answer lies in the translatory misunderstanding of a single small word. The Babylonian word for potter's clay was tit, but in the more ancient Sumerian language, tiet meant that which is life. In the Hebrew word tit meant mud. When the blood, semen, of Enki was united by Ninkursag with the tiet, it was being united not with clay, but with that which is life, female ovum. From such beginnings, Ninkursag cultured these models which she implanted into the wombs of surrogate mothers, and the precise nature of these little models is manifest in Ninkursag's description, Lady of the Embryo. In Adapa's case, Ninkursag had been the surrogate mother, and so the resultant model of man, the Adama, Earthling, was born from the womb of Lady Earth herself. His partner, Kawa, the biblical Eve, was created in precisely the same manner. But what does this all mean? biblical Adam was actually a character of the Sumerian text called Adama named Adapa? The Egyptian pharaoh who had access to the story of the creation of Adapa incorporated elements of his story into his own? The connections are striking. Let's delve deeper and uncover the secrets that bridge these ancient worlds. Stay tuned for the next episode where we continue this extraordinary journey of discovery. Like, share, subscribe, and let us know what you think. Until next time.